Now, Diablo 4 Season 4 has been out for a little while now, and with there being probably more content than ever in it, you'll want to know what's best and how to make the most powerful character you possibly can. Now, we've got masterworking, we've obviously got those greater affixes on our piece of gear, and ultimately they're going to be the most powerful items in the game now, rivaling and even sometimes surpassing some of the very best Uber uniques. However, farming these is far from easy. So after playing a whole bunch of the game and doing pretty much everything in it from the easy to the toughest content possible, I'm going to show you where you should be farming in order to get the most bang for your buck and get the best gear very fast. Now obviously I tried Nightmare Dungeons, I tried the Tormented bosses, which I thought would be amazing. These are not actually that great, to be perfectly honest, because you're getting a whole bunch of uniques dropping, and most of the times you don't get the greater affixes on those, and it kind of takes away from your loot pool. Also, I smashed the pit to pieces, and whilst this is good, and I'm going to come back to it later, the best place if you're trying to get a whole bunch of greater affixes on your gear is actually going to be going to this place right here, and that's going to be your trusty Hell Tides. This might sound stupid and it might be a little bit annoying because this is some place you're going to be farming for an absolute age, especially this season because it's part of the actual seasonal event, so it's kind of a double-edged sword. Some will love it, some will probably be a little bit tired of it because it may grow a little bit monotonous. But going to Hell Tides and making sure you take on the Blood Maiden over and over again is going to be the fastest way you can actually get yourself your best piece of gear with the enhanced affixes on it. Also, whenever possible, try and activate one of the profane mind cages, as having enemies higher ranked always seems to work out best. And pretty much any activities where you're taking on tougher enemies well over the 100 mark in massive groups is going to be your way forward in order to farm lots of gear. Hell Tides, and more importantly at the moment, going to the Accursed Ritual is definitely the best way to grab loads of gear at once. Massive amounts of drop means a greater chance of getting something nice and having a rolled greater affix on it. What you're going to want to do, summon her as many times as possible. Make sure you put at least one of those hearts in, because if you don't put any in you do get less loot. I believe it's probably about 4, maybe 5 pieces of gear rather than the kind of 12 to 16, and you're going to be doing these over and over again. But the reason I say this is better than any other place, is because at the moment, especially with the upgrading system in place with the masterworking, it's probably the first time I've said this in any game, but quantity is actually better than quality in this case. For example, even if you found one with 2 enhanced affixes on it and it's absolutely perfect, you may well still completely break the item when you're going to masterwork it, and it could roll absolutely awful. So if you find something that's nice and it's got at least one greater affix for the slot you're after, then you should probably try and hold on to that and try and upgrade it, see exactly what it brings. I was farming the Hell Tides for around about an hour. Obviously, whenever you've got a whole bunch of your cinders, you're going to want to go over to your chests, make sure you do some of those as well in order to get the hearts back, but basically the Blood Maiden is going to be your go-to option. As you can see here, I found an absolute ton. This was around about an hour's worth, it might have been a little bit less, but as long as you keep farming there, you're going to find some really nice pieces of gear that can enhance, and if you're lucky, kind of max out your build. I found quite a few with 1 or even 2 greater affixes on it. Some were absolutely amazing, and I found this to be the fastest way currently in the game to grab these pieces of gear. One other way that I would say is amazing, especially if you're doing the very last bits of the endgame, is going to be running the pits. But what you're going to want to do, rather than running the highest ones you possibly can, so if you say you're at 100 and it's going to take you 7, 8, 9 minutes to do, instead bop it all the way down to one that's going to be able to be done in a nice timely fashion. Probably under 4 minutes would be ideal. So if you could do 100, maybe do an 85 or something in those regards. Make your way through, defeat all the enemies, and at the end you're going to get yourself some nice tasty loot, not always with a guaranteed drop unfortunately with those enhanced affixes, so that's something I would like to see going forward. Hopefully they'll put that in place further down the line once you get to a certain ranking in the pit. Nice and easy, they make it so it's guaranteed. I think that would definitely be a nice function later on. But at the moment you do get a little bit of loot. It's not as good as the Hell Tides, but you also get a nice amount of ovals. So if you're after just one item in particular, you can do these over and over again. Obviously it's going to give you resources for doing your upgrading, which you're 100% going to need in order to make the best gear, and of course you can take your ovals, go down to your purveyor, and fingers crossed get yourself something nice in the slot that you're after. Obviously if you're like me, you're going to do this a whole bunch of times over and it's going to roll awfully, but most people have got more luck than me, so fingers crossed you get something nice pretty soon this way. But yeah, some people are going to love this, some people are going to hate this because Hell Tides is very monotonous I find, but currently these 2 ways are definitely best in the game. Hell Tides for mass, and run in the pit just if you're after one particular item. But yeah, as always, hopefully that's helped a few of you guys and girls out. There'll be a lot more content from me. For now, take care, I'll see you on next day.